ideas of where they'd like to go at the poles for future missions beyond that, but right now we're just focused on selecting for 3.
Thanks.
I think we'll try and take one more. Our last question is from Bill Harwood with CBS News.
Hey, thanks a lot for coming back to me. Just a real quick one for John. You know, as someone who's covered space for a number of years, I mean, things do break. I mean, can you talk about what capability astronauts might have to make repairs on this vehicle in lunar orbit? I mean, you know, I assume you've got systems that are replaceable or could be repaired, but if you're going to use it long term, obviously you have to have some way to do maintenance. I'm just wondering if you can talk about that in general terms. Thanks.
Yeah, great question. And that's one of the key factors that went into our design, to build for maintainability, to build for reuse, and to build for that robustness, especially as we learn new lessons. So first of all, the NASA requirements are great. Lisa made reference to the design and construction standards. What we have to do to support astronauts on this vehicle is very helpful in guiding a lot of this. But then there are things such as line replaceable units. Are they in easy access? Are they within the pressurized or unpressurized volume? There's, without getting into too much, but like robotic inspection of engines and that kind of thing. So that's what we'll be working through during this process. We already have some ideas on that. And as we go into our preliminary design review and our critical design review, that will not only be an important aspect, but we will utilize a very first uncrewed lander to test some of that, to see what we can do from the ground before we even bring an astronaut in the loop. And that's just for things like line replaceable units. Within the vehicle itself, there's levels of redundancy. There's also the ability for the vehicle itself to fault detect, isolate, and recover from any faults. And then the ability from the ground to also update any faults.
Thanks, John. That's unfortunately all we have time for today. I'd like to hand it over to Administrator Nelson to close this out.
So let's put all this discussion in context. We're going back to the moon in order for us to go to Mars and beyond. That's what Colonel Pam Melroy and Colonel Bob Cabana have been explaining in a detailed Moon to Mars architecture. This is a major part of it. We go to the moon, and it is hard, but when we go to Mars, it's going to be harder. So we go to the moon to learn, to live, to invent, to create all these things to be successful on the moon, to go to Mars. The great adventure of humankind pressing out into the cosmos is here, and this is a part of it. So thank you for joining us today. Have a good day.